Hello and welcome to the final part, the fifth and final part of this Hindsight-Kingdom series. Obviously, rebooked the first four Wrestle Kingdoms onto the fifth and final Wrestle Kingdom. So I'm gonna try and do this video in under half an hour. I've noticed that all the videos so far have been pretty lengthy. I've got a fair bit to get through, so I'm going to try and power through, get straight to it, try not to make this video too long, and there you go. First things first, I've got to address what happened between Wrestle Kingdom 4 and 5, because for one individual in particular, it's very important. Tetsuya Naito. Naito would be getting the push of his life, coming off the heels of No Limits Tag Team title win at Wrestle Kingdom 4. He would go into the New Japan Cup as a complete outsider, and he would get to the finals, and he would face Yuji Nagata, and it's sort of an homage to the Sanada Nagata match at the Champions Carnival, where a lot of the fans got behind Sanada, as opposed when he was against the sort of the more seasoned veteran in Nagata, and fans really got behind Sanada. So hopefully a similar sort of thing would happen here. But what I would actually do is I would have Naito go over. Naito would go over and win. He'd beat Nagata clean. But the important thing about this is Naito does not take his title shot. He earns a title shot, but he doesn't take it. Say Nagata gets the title shot. Nagata takes the title shot because he's obviously the runner-up. No Limit would then vacate the IWGP Tag Team Champions. Now the story behind this would be that Yujiro would get injured, and Naito would basically go as far as to say as well, the only reason I was champion was because I was still with Yujiro. If it's either us as a team or neither of us. So he would drop the belts. Basically, Bad Intentions would pick up the titles. Maybe I'm not sure how I do it. I'd probably maybe do it like a mini tournament of like maybe 4 teams. And the basic match that they would go over in, they would go over Ten-Koji to become the IWGP Tag Team Champions. Back to Naito. Naito, having vacated the tag team titles, would then go on to the G1 Climax, and there would be mention of him, but nobody's ever won the New Japan Cup and then the G1 Climax. So Naito's a big outsider, but he gets through to the semis, and he faces Tanahashi. He's a complete underdog. It's very similar to what actually happened at this year's G1 Climax. Naito sort of sneaked into the semi-final and then beat Tanahashi. Pretty much exactly what would happen here. He would sneak into the semi-final and then he would beat Tanahashi, and then he would, well, literally, it is what happened. He would face Nakamura in the final, and then he would beat him. So Naito wins the New Japan Cup, beating Nagata, and wins the G1 Climax, beating Tanahashi and Nakamura, and doesn't take either of his title shots. No. After he's won G1, he says he wants to save his title shot. He wants to go one-on-one with the champion at Wrestle Kingdom 5, at the biggest show of them all, in the main event of the biggest show of them all, to prove just how good he really is. Something like that sort of thing. So Naito's basically putting his title shots in his back pocket and saving them until Wrestle Kingdom. And the other thing that would happen between Wrestle Kingdom 4 and 5, before Wrestle Kingdom 5, Prince Devitt would go over Ryusuke Taguchi to become the IWGP Jr Heavyweight Champion. Onto the card. Opening match of the night, Ryusuke Taguchi and Kota Ibushi versus Koji Kanemoto and Jushin Liger. I like the team of Kanemoto and Liger. They go together very well because they're such seasoned veteran junior heavyweights. They've both had some great matches in their time. They both still have some decent matches. Maybe Liger can't go like he used to, but I think this would be a very solid match. I know Taguchi's not young, but it would be representational of the younger generation of the junior heavyweights versus the now legendary, sort of the current versus the past. And obviously the current would need to go over. Taguchi, who has not really been very successful at Wrestle Kingdom, would get the pin here on the big name Liger with the dirt on. So that would be Taguchi and Ibushi over Kanemoto and Liger. That's your first match. Second match of the night, Togi Makabe versus Masato Tanaka. This is actually something I'm quite proud of. Coming off the back of the last Wrestle Kingdom, Makabe was obviously champion, having won the G1, beating Tanahashi, and then he lost the belt to Goto. I'd want to try and keep Makabe relatively hot. He would get a title shot over the course of the year. Not two, he's not Nakamura. Have a bad match with the champion and then get another title shot of the same guy. I don't think so. Anyway. But yeah, Makabe, obviously, he needs to be kept relevant, and I think a feud with Tanaka is a way of doing that. Obviously, Tanaka himself was in a heavyweight championship match at the last Wrestle Kingdom. He was unsuccessful against Sugiura for challenging for the Noah heavyweight title, the GHC heavyweight title. So it basically comes down to a feud between these two, and it would basically be a sort of a blood feud, because these two guys are just brawlers. And this match would just be it would be exactly that. It would be a brawl. It would be a brawl between these two. These two would just have a fight on the second match of the show, and it would be brutal, and it would be dangerous, and it would be back and forth. And, I mean, like 1 minute it looks like Masato Tanaka might just kill Makabe, and the next minute Makabe's on top of him, beating the crap out of him. It's going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But very unfortunately for Tanaka, because he's been put under a lot of Wrestle Kingdom. I think he picked up the tag team titles on Wrestle Kingdom 2, but other than that, he's been put under quite a bit, and this is going to be no exception. Makabe goes over with a chain lariat. So there's your second match. Makabe over Tanaka. Third match of the night, the IWGP Tag Team Championships. Bad Intentions over Daisuke Sekimoto and Yuji Okabayashi. What a tag team match that would be. Bad Intentions are coming into this sort of... People are sort of... I don't know what the word would be, but they're sort of still not sure that they really deserve to be holding the titles. They had their reign, they lost to No Limit, and a lot of people think that should have been out. But the fact that they sort of, No Limit vacated the titles, and the titles sort of fell back into Bad Intentions' lap, not a lot of fans are partial to that. I know, I wouldn't be. But, well, actually, no, I don't mind, because I'm more used to the American style of wrestling, so title changes happen all the time for me. Bad Intentions, obviously they are still a hell of a team, and they're coming against Sekimoto and Okabayashi, who would later this year, just a few months later, win the All Asia titles, tag team titles in All Japan. So it's not really that huge of a oh my god, they're challenging for the IWGP Tag Team Champions. You kind of want to help build these guys. Sekimoto in Wrestle Kingdom and Okabayashi at Wrestle Kingdom, for that matter. So it's a nice way of letting some of the younger talent shine. It's also sort of another on the other side of things. It's sort of maybe you've got their attention. Maybe by putting them on the biggest show of the year, giving them a shot, you've sort of got them, say, maybe a few years down the line, when Sekimoto's a more honed because he's only going to get better, a more honed performer. Maybe New Japan says to him, yeah, do you want to come work for us? Maybe he says yes because he got that opportunity when he was younger. But yeah, this would be a great tag team match. But of course, with Sekimoto and Okabayashi not being members of the roster and not really staying on because obviously they went off to winning the Asia Tag Team titles, that intention would need to go over, and I'd actually have Anderson going over Okabayashi rather than Bernard, because you want to push them as a team, and pushing them as a team, you can't have Bernard getting all the pins. Anderson would go over Okabayashi with a gun stomp. Now Anderson is highly underrated. Highly underrated. Fourth match of the night. So this is a match that should have happened. Well, it has happened, but it should have happened this way. Prince Devitt versus Kenny Omega for the IWGP Jr Heavyweight Championship. I'm not quite sure how long I'd give Devitt a reign. Maybe he'd probably have maybe a 6-month reign with like three or four, probably 4 title defenses coming into this. And obviously none against Omega, because Omega would be being built towards this. Coming off the back of last year's Wrestle Kingdom, you'd still be building him, because he got the pin over Taguchi. Down the line, Devitt wins the title from Taguchi. Obviously, Kenny Omega would then beat Taguchi again afterwards. Obviously, it's too late. Or maybe Omega gets a title shot at Taguchi and then loses, and then faces Taguchi again further down the line and wins. But this is after he's lost the title. Because pinning the champion's a big deal. So, at least in my world it would be. I would definitely give Omega a shot at the title for pinning Taguchi. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. But Devitt is, no matter what you think of Devitt, and I personally am a bit sick of the guy, he's still good in the ring. I mean, you've got your people who just stay on top forever, and I think Devitt is one of those guys. I don't think it's not like Triple H. It's not like Devitt's pulling a power play, and he's politicking to stay at the top. He is put at the top by New Japan, and they keep him at the top because he's a star, which is fair enough, and I can't argue that. But there are other people that could fit that position far better than Devitt. And for him to have such a long reign, have an almost one day less than a year-long reign, have Ibushi go over him, and then Ibushi just drops the title because of injury, and it goes straight back to Devitt. Why don't you give Kushida an opportunity to go with the belt? It doesn't even have to be a long reign. You can give Kushida a transitional reign, see how he goes. And if he goes well, maybe you can keep the title on for longer. If he doesn't, then you can have him drop it at whatever show, Wrestle Kingdom, whatever. And then you can have Ibushi come back and say, that's my title, motherfucker. And then beat him. Going off track here. Anyway, Devitt versus Omega. This would be a great match. These two are actually both Gaijins. Devitt's from Ireland, and Omega's from, I'm not sure where in Canada. Where exactly? City. Might be Winnipeg. I'm not sure about that. But Omega, they would have a hell of a match. I would actually have I'd have a few big time spots in here. I'd have Omega hit Devitt with the Kreutz Raft, and Devitt would kick out, and that would basically kill Omega. In terms of psychology, Omega would just be like, "What? He kicked out the Kreutz Raft." And Devitt would go for Devitt would hit him with the Blood Sunday, and he'd kick out the Bloody Sunday, and this would just be, and from here it's just like literally just like fuck it. just going to go balls to the wall and just beat the crap out of each other. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Devitt gets Kenny down, goes to the top rope. Kenny, bang, crotches him on the top rope, climbs the top rope himself, lifts him up onto his shoulders. Yeah, he's going to do it. Avalanche Kreuz Raft. Off the top rope, motherfucker. Bro, if Devitt's not dead after that, give that man a medal, because seriously, wow. Omega goes over, 1, 2, 3. New IWGP Jr Heavyweight Champion, Kenny Omega. So, 5th match in one. Representing New Japan is Ten-Koji, Satoshi Kojima and Hiroshi Tenda. And they will be going up against, representing Pro Wrestling Noah, Takashi Sugiura and Yoshihiro Takayama. I know technically Takayama's never worked for Noah, but yeah, beggars can't be choosers. And they team together at the show anyway, so. Ten-Koji, obviously, Kojima wouldn't have been back for very long, and obviously he didn't win the G1 Climax like he did in real life, so no title victory for him here, which is a shame, because I like Kojima. I'd probably give him a title shot down the line, but for now, I'd immediately have him reunite with Tenzan. The second he comes back, literally. Him and Tenzan just reunite as a tag team the second he comes back. And you want to build them because, I mean, they're a credible team. They're one of the biggest teams in Japanese pro wrestling history. So, you put them in a big time match with GHC Heavyweight Champion Takashi Sugiura and Yoshihiro Takayama, who is also two of the biggest names from pro wrestling now, for sure. And these two teams would just put on a great match. I mean, Jesus Christ. I'd have sort of Sugiura and Tenzan sort of break down into a brawl, and you just have like, you basically have Takayama's knees versus Kojima's lariats. Maybe you have Takayama hit him with a big knee, sort of daze him. Like this is with Tenzan and Sugiura out on the outside. He hits him with a big knee, and Kojima's a bit wobbly, and Takayama goes off the ropes and goes to hit another big knee, like a sort of a Triple H-esque maybe, with a maybe not quite as not like running high knee, but that sort of thing, like just sort of bounces off the ropes and just goes for a high knee to the chin. But Kojima manages to block it. Bam! Lariat. Bam! Lariat. Big man's a bit woozy. Bam! Lariat. Still standing though. And then Kojima. Off the ropes, off the ropes, off the ropes, off the ropes. Bang! Takes his head off with a 4th lariat. 1, 2, 3. Ten-Koji get the victory, and Takayama takes 4 lariats to even go down. Wow. That would just make Takayama look like a badass. That would make Pro Wrestling Noah look good in defeat. And it would get Ten-Koji a nice credible victory over 2 very established stars, top stars. So that would be a big win for Ten-Koji. Like I said, you need to build them because they're a good tag team. They've got a lot of history behind them. 6th match for the night is a match I've already run, but it's the only match I would ever run again. And there's a reason for it. And it plays into sort of irony a little bit. It was the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 3. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah. These two would have been the stars of my past generation. My last sort of the Wrestle Kingdom 1, 2, 3, all the way up to from Wrestle Kingdom 1 to 4. Well, maybe not all the way to 4, but from Wrestle Kingdom 1 through to about halfway between Wrestle Kingdom 3 and 4. Maybe a bit long. Those two were the guys. They were the 2 top stars in New Japan. So, and at Wrestle Kingdom 3, they had their huge showdown, and for the first time ever, and it was big, and it was bad, and um, it was the main event. It was a spectacle. It was Nakamura versus Tanahashi, which can be great. I mean, it's not been so great as of late. Not this year anyway. I haven't seen the last match they had, but the first one was awful. But this match would be great, because I would go out there and I would tell them that if it's not great, you're both right now. I think the way I've worked it is that people wouldn't be sick of Tanahashi on top. I mean, Tanahashi would have had 2 reigns, but he would have actually had good solid matches, and he would have beaten incredible people, and he would have fallen at his first reign would have ended at the hands of Kurt Angle, which was a big story. Which would have been a big story. So I think that might have even slightly overshadowed at the end of Tanahashi's first reign. So people would have forgotten that to an extent. But I think if somebody credible goes over you, even if you have a long reign, if somebody credible enough goes over you, then your reign's kind of it has a purpose. JBL, for example, he had a long WWE title reign. He made John Cena though. He made John Cena. If it wasn't for JBL, John Cena would not be as big a star as he is now. I know that sounds stupid, but it's fact. Yeah. Nakamura and Tanahashi would just go back and forth. And another brutal encounter. And another great wrestling match as well. Because these two can wrestle great matches. But Nakamura needs to get his win back. Tanahashi went over at Wrestle Kingdom 3. Nakamura goes over here with a Bomb-A. And, well, that's Nakamura Tanahashi. The main event and the 7th match of the night, the final match of the night. For the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Hirooki Goto, my champion, versus Tetsuya Naito, my second guy. You know how I said at the start of the video how I'd build up Naito? New Japan Cup over Nagata, G1 Climax over Tanahashi and Nakamura. He basically looked at it as after he's won the G1, he'd come out and say to Goto at some point, "Look at me, just look at me. You took 2 years to finally win the big one. You took 2 years to become a star. You got to 2 G1 Climax finals and you lost them both. You've never won the New Japan Cup. You've never won the G1 Climax. And it took you 2 years to get to the title. Maybe even longer. And whilst you've had a very long reign as champion, a great reign as champion, I've done more in the past year by winning the New Japan Cup. He dethroned Bad Intentions after a year-long reign, and then he won the G1 Climax, obviously, and he vacated the titles, which is sort of overlooked that due to injury. That's huge, man. Compared to what Goto did. I mean, it took Goto so long to finally get to the title. And it's taken Naito hasn't even taken his title shots. And Goto would say, well, I'm the champion for a reason. It doesn't matter whether I took 1 day to get there or 1 decade. Doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that he is champion, and he will go to Wrestle Kingdom, and he will face anybody, be it Naito, or Nakamura, or Tanahashi, or anyone that wants to come at him and challenge for his title. He will face them, and he will beat them. And Naito's there saying, you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue how big a star I am becoming. I am the next superstar of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm the next breakout star. I am the next IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Okay, so basically, the pay-per-view after this one, in real life, the pay-per-view of the Wrestle Kingdom 5, which would be the new beginning, I think. Naito and Goto had a match. I'm going to put the links to the match in the description down below. You need to see that match. You really need to see that match. That match, if this main event was anything like that match, wow! Seriously, I think that match. I think the Naito Goto match might be my match of the year because I'm a huge Goto mark. I like Naito. That match is just fantastic, absolutely phenomenal. Oh my god, it's a great wrestling match. It's not too long. It's about 17 minutes altogether, plus entrances. It's just a fantastic match. And it's very, very. I mean, seriously, I was wanting this match to go on longer because it was that good. And I'm very, very. It's very rare that I ever want a match to go on longer. It's only happened twice so far this year, I think. But yeah. I just think this match, if it was anything like that, what it actually was, then it would be fantastic. Obviously, the story would be Naito has to go over. Each year, I make a new star. Each and every year. That's just the way it is. We had, well, I don't really know who we had at the first Kingdom. Probably, we'll say Tanahashi, because Tanahashi was sort of made there. Nakamura was made at Wrestle Kingdom 2. You had Tanahashi again at Wrestle Kingdom 3. Because Tanahashi would obviously have evaded because of his defeat to Kane. He was remade into a star, if you will. Goto, obviously Makabe between 3 and 4, because he won the title. Goto at 4. I guess Makabe winning the title eventually is sort of another way of saying he was made a star. And then at 5 you've got Tetsuya Naito. And next year I'd want somebody else to go to become a star. But yeah, like I said, this match would be phenomenal. And the story of this match, the story of this would be that Naito would adapt his partner's move even as a tribute. He would start using the Tokyo Pimps because, I mean, whilst the Stardust Press is flashy, it's not what you'd call a great heavyweight finisher. And I mean, I know he's more of a junior, but you still want a heavyweight finisher. So I'd have him adapt the Tokyo Pimps, and that's how he'd go over. He'd go over with the Tokyo Pimps, and that actually sets up something for the future with Yuji when he does come back. So, but that's it. That's a wrap. That's Wrestle Kingdom 5. There's Wrestle Kingdom 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Also on my channel, just look back. And that's it. Wow. Let me know what you think. Do comment down below, which nobody has done, other than Josh so far. And do subscribe to him as well. That will be in the description box as well. The guy that helped me concoct these cards. So. But yeah, that's a wrap. Let me know what you think. It was fun to do. It was a long conversation between me and Josh to produce these cards. Long conversation. Probably the longest conversation I've ever had with anybody. But yeah, it was fun. Fun to do. So from me, peace.